Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another interesting session of organic chemistry. In today's session, Madam Sridevi Madam, Principal TSMS Kudur will be the presenter, and she will be dealing about ethers part of organic chemistry. In the last class, Madam has explained about the nomenclature of ethers. In today's class, Madam will be explaining about the preparation of ethers and properties of ethers, and also about aromatic ethers. Welcome, Madam. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Madam, over to you.
Good morning.
Oh,
thank you, ma'am.
Please continue the session.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you. Good morning, dear students. Once again, a happy welcome to the organic chemistry class. Myself, Mrs. Sridevi Polu, is privileged to be a part of this webinar team and to teach you children. So today we are going to deal about ethers. In our previous class, we have learnt about introduction of ethers, then IUPAC nomenclature of ethers. And today we are going to learn about the isomerism, then methods of preparation and chemical properties of ethers. And I will try to complete this ethers topic along with the aromatic ethers. Okay, so see, let me start the session, children. So hope you are all doing this. You are all working out, okay? So then, see, let me start this. Okay, so we are going to learn about ethers. What are ethers? ROR is the general representation of ethers, isn't it? ROR. Okay, so they can be called as monoalkyl derivatives of alcohols. This is an alcohol. Okay, so monoalkyl derivatives means this hydrogen is replaced with alkyl group, right? Like this. Hence, monoalkyl derivatives of alcohols. And then dialkyl derivatives of water. The two hydrogens are replaced with alkyl groups, then ethers we get, right? So it is an ether and this is our water, H2O, right? So they are the monoalkyl derivatives of alcohols and dialkyl derivatives of water. Okay, so ethers, right? This ethereal oxygen. What is this oxygen, children? Ethereal oxygen is linked with alkyl groups. And then we have discussed about the classification of ethers also. Symmetrical ethers and unsymmetrical ethers. Okay, so CH3O, CH3. So what is this? Dimethyl ether. If you carefully observe, the two methyl groups are same, isn't it? Dimethyl ether. See, this is a methoxy methane. Then see this. See, this is C2H5OCH3. See, this is the ethyl methyl ether. What is this? Ethyl methyl ether. Ethyl methyl ether. So this is a symmetrical ether and this one is an unsymmetrical ether, right? So symmetrical, same alkyl groups, understood? Or simple, symmetrical or simple. And this is unsymmetrical, okay, or mixed, means two different alkyl groups or mixed. So hope you have recalled what we have learned in our previous class, children. Okay, so then let us move to the today's topic. Okay, so according to the IUPAC nomenclature, I told you that they are called as alkoxy alkanes. ROR is the general formula of a ether. Then according to the IUPAC nomenclature, they are called as alkoxy alkanes, right? Alkoxy alkane. See, we have seen many examples, isn't it? So let me show you that slide quickly. See, once again, let us recall that, and then we will move to the today's topic, children. So this is the one which we have learned in our previous class. This is about the nomenclature. See, the common name is dialkyl ethers, and according to the IUPAC nomenclature, they are called as alkoxy alkanes. See, this is the dimethyl ether, the methoxymethane. See, the shortest alkyl group should be clubbed with oxygen and should be called as methoxy, and the other part should be end with the word alkane. So, methane, methoxymethane. The next compound, ethyl methyl ether, methoxyethane. Then ethyl propyl ether, ethoxypropane. And see this is a 2-ethoxypropane. See, this is a ethyl isopropyl ether. Okay, so what is this group? Isopropyl group, isn't it? So 2-ethoxypropane. See, this is the carbon chain 1, 2, 3 propane, and second carbon is linked with the ethyl group. When you club the oxygen with it, you will get 2-ethoxypropane. Okay, children? Yes. See, now let us move into the topic what we are learning today, right? So then coming to our isomerism, right? So then coming to the isomerism. So let us learn about the isomerism of ethers. See, what is isomerism? The compounds which have same molecular formula but different physical and chemical properties are called as isomers, and the phenomenon is known as isomerism. See, alcohols and ethers are functional isomers, right? Alcohols and ethers are functional isomers. What isomers, Nana? Functional isomers. So they are functional isomers. Right. So I will give the examples to you, children. So this is a C2H5OH. See, what is this? Ethanol. And then the ether for the molecular formula. What is the molecular formula? C2H6O is the molecular formula. So let us write the ether for this. So CH3, and then this is the ethereal oxygen, this CH3. So what is this? Methoxymethane. Methoxymethane. Okay, children. I hope you got this, right? So I think you have recalled this, which I have taught in alcohols. So alcohols and ethers are functional isomers, means they have different functional group. So this is ROH and this is ROR. So this is an ether and this is an alcohol. Okay, so what are they? They are functional isomers. Okay, so now let us see the next one. Okay, this is the functional isomerism. Now let us move into the next part of it, right? Functional isomerism. Okay, functional isomerism. Now the next one is, so they show metamerism. What is it? Metamerism. Metamerism. Okay, so what is that? Let us see. See, I will write a molecular formula. Okay, so what is that? C4H10O. C4H10O. So how many carbons, children? 4 carbons, isn't it? So I will write the metamers for this molecular formula. We just observe carefully. So the first one is our ethoxyethane. That is our diethyl ether, isn't it? So what is this? Diethyl ether. See, let me write another compound for the same molecular formula. So what is it? So we will write this CH3O C3H7. Yes. What is this? So this is methyl propyl ether. What is this? So methyl propyl ether. Methyl propyl ether. Okay, Nana, methyl propyl ether. So now let me write another compound for the same molecular formula. See, that is a metamer. So CH3O, CH, okay, then CH3, then CH3. Okay, so what is this? So this is nothing but methyl isopropyl ether. Methyl isopropyl ether. See, what is the difference you observed in these three compounds? It is the alkyl chain, children. So they have same molecular formula and the same functional group. But the alkyl chain is different. So this is the ethyl group and this is the methyl and propyl group. This is a methyl and isopropyl group. Okay, so this is called as, what is it? Metamerism. Okay, so metamerism. Okay, hope you got this, children. So what is this? Metamerism, right? So now let us move to the next type of isomerism. What is exhibited by these? Okay, so this is a chain isomerism. Okay, chain isomerism. So the compounds which have same molecular formula but differ in the carbon skeleton, that is in the carbon chain, are called as chain isomers. And the phenomenon is known as chain isomerism. Iso means same. Okay, so then let us take the example for this. C5H12O is the compound which I am taking here, right? See, I will write the chain isomers for this. So the first one is CH3O, okay, CH2, 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 CH3, right? Okay, so what is this? So this is 1-methoxybutane. Here I am writing the IUPAC nomenclature, children. 1-methoxybutane, S. Okay, so now let me write another isomer for the same molecular formula. Okay, CH3, okay, O, then CH2, CH, then CH3, then CH3. So what is this? So this is 1-methoxy, okay, 1-methoxy, 2-methyl propane, 2-methyl propane. Okay, Nana? So I hope you are clear with this, children. So these are the chain isomers for the molecular formula C5H12O. So 5 carbons and then 12 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. So C5H12O is the molecular formula. And the chain isomers for these molecular formula are 1-methoxybutane and 1-methoxy-2-methyl propane. Okay, okay. So then now let us move to the preparations of ethers. Okay, so what is it? So let us move to the preparations of ethers, right? So then coming to the preparations of ethers, children. Preparation of ethers. So many compounds are synthesized from the organic compounds, means the previous compounds. See, we have seen the alcohols, isn't it? Alcohol properties. When alcohols undergo dehydration, so they will give ethers, alkenes, isn't it? So then today we are going to learn the first preparation from alcohols. What is it? Alcohol. What alcohol? So alcohol means, I already told you that it is ethyl alcohol. What alcohol? So it is ethyl alcohol. So we are going to prepare it from ethyl alcohol. Let me write directly from ethyl alcohol. So no question of confusion here. So from ethyl alcohol. And what is this reaction, children? So you should remember this. So this is dehydration of alcohols. So we call this as dehydration of alcohols. Dehydration means what, Nana? Elimination of water. Elimination of water. So alcohols undergo dehydration in the presence of sulfuric acid and phosphoric acid. Sulfuric acid and phosphoric acid. So let us see the reaction here. So ethanol C2H5OH on dehydration. I will write another molecule of ethyl alcohol here, children. So another molecule of ethanol C2H5OH, right? So when heated with concentrated sulfuric acid, concentrated sulfuric acid at 413 Kelvin. 413 Kelvin. So what is eliminated here? H2O is eliminated here. H2O is eliminated. And what is the product you obtain here? So it is nothing but our ethoxyethane, C2H5O, C2H5. Okay, so this is ethanol. How many moles of ethanol, Nana? 2 moles of ethanol. And this is ethoxyethane. That is our diethyl ether. Diethyl ether. Okay. So this is a preparation of ethyl alcohol. Sorry, this is the preparation of ether from ethyl alcohol. Okay. So ethyl alcohol on dehydration gives ethoxyethane. That is our ether. Okay, so please learn this. So it's very important. All the dehydration reactions are very important. Okay, so please try to understand this, children. Okay, just 1 minute. So the first preparation is from ethyl alcohol. It's a dehydration reaction. Okay. So now let us move to the next one. This is also from ethanol, and then the reagents are different. That's it. So ethanol, okay, ethanol when heated with alumina, Al2O3, alumina at 260 degrees centigrade. Okay, 260 degrees centigrade. What does it give? It gives our diethyl ether. Diethyl ether. And then what is eliminated again here? H2O. So here also water is eliminated. That's why this reaction is called as dehydration reaction. What is it? Dehydration reaction. Okay. So this is the dehydration of ethanol. So once the reagent we used here is concentrated sulfuric acid. So the other one is alumina, Al2O3, alumina. Okay. So then now let us move to the other preparations of diethyl ether. Okay. So then see, this is the most famous and familiar reaction what we are going to learn now, children. So this is nothing but okay, nothing but Williamson synthesis. What is it? Williamson synthesis. Okay, Williamson synthesis. So Williamson synthesis. Williamson synthesis. So now let us learn this Williamson synthesis. Okay. So how can we prepare ethers by Williamson synthesis? You have to take ethyl chloride. What is it? Ethyl chloride or chloroethane. When treated with sodium alkoxide, here we take sodium ethoxide. Okay, and then what is eliminated? NaCl is eliminated. NaCl is eliminated. Right, what do you get? You will get diethyl ether. Diethyl ether. Okay, diethyl ether. Right? So then this is a diethyl ether or ethoxyethane plus NaCl plus NaCl, right? So this reaction is called as a Williamson synthesis. What is it? Williamson synthesis. Okay, so let me write the names of these compounds. Okay, so ethyl chloride, ethyl chloride when treated with sodium ethoxide, right? NaCl is eliminated and we get diethyl ether. See, by this method, we can prepare both symmetrical and unsymmetrical ethers. So, symmetrical and unsymmetrical ethers are prepared by this method. Symmetrical and unsymmetrical ethers are prepared by Williamson synthesis. Right? And then the alkyl halide reacts with the sodium alkoxide or potassium alkoxide to give ether, right? So then here I have to mention you a few things. So this is the SN2 attack. That is the bimolecular nucleophilic substitution attack of an alkoxide ion. Okay. So please remember, so this is important for your objective examination. For your IPE, only you will be asked what is Williamson synthesis and write down the equation. Okay. So then SN2 attack of an alkoxide ion on primary alkyl halide will take place. On primary alkyl halide. So I am not leaving any single important point, children, on primary alkyl halide, right? So for better yield of ethers, this alkyl halide preferred is primary, okay? And the alkyl halide preferred is primary, whereas the alkoxide preferred is tertiary, right? So this is Williamson synthesis. So ethyl chloride reacts with sodium ethoxide to produce diethyl ether. So this reaction is called as Williamson synthesis. Please remember, so this is a very, very, very famous and important reaction. It is a very frequently asked question for your 2 marks, and also for 8 marks also, you will get 4 such 2 marks type of questions. And then let me give the order of reactivity here. Okay. So this is the order of reactivity of alkyl halides. So order of reactivity of alkyl halides. So let me tell you the order of reactivity. Order of reactivity of alkyl halides. Okay. So order of reactivity of alkyl halides, children. Okay. So then primary greater than secondary greater than tertiary. Okay. So this is the order of reactivity of alkyl halides. Please remember this. It is very important, children. So then let me move to the next part of this. Okay. So then from ethyl bromide, see how they are prepared. So the next preparation is from ethyl bromide. So the first preparation is from by the dehydration of alcohols. The second preparation is a Williamson synthesis, and the third preparation is from ethyl bromide. Okay, so ethyl bromide, right? C2H5Br, ethyl bromide, when treated with silver oxide. Okay, so what is it? Silver oxide, right? Ag2O, silver oxide. And what silver oxide is it? Dry silver oxide. You should remember. I will tell you why I'm stressing this word dry silver oxide. Okay, so then another mole of ethyl bromide. So BrC2H5. Okay. See, for the sake of understanding this reaction, I'm writing like this. So nothing special or peculiarity in writing like this. See what is eliminated. AgBr is eliminated here. And then here also another mole of AgBr is eliminated. Easy, isn't it, children? Yes. Now, what do you get? You will get nothing but our diethyl ether. C2H5O, C2H5 plus 2 moles of AgBr. 2 moles of AgBr. So what is this? This is ethyl bromide, bromoethane. Bromoethane. Okay. So this is a bromoethane. Bromoethane. So this is dry silver oxide. Silver oxide. Please remember. Now I will tell you why we are using, why I am stressing dry silver oxide, right? So why? Because if you take C2H5Br, so please note this. So this is the important thing, what you had to remember. If you take aqueous silver oxide, means Ag2O, right? We can say that moist silver oxide. It will be appropriate, right? So the proper word to use here, moist silver oxide. Then what happens is, so you will get like this. So what do you get? You'll get C2H5. 1 minute. I'll show you again. So this is a C2H5Br, isn't it? C2H5Br plus dry silver oxide. You got diethyl ether. Then by this method, so see this, I'll show you. So what is this? This is our phenol, isn't it? Plus NaOH. So phenols also converted into ethers by this method, right? So like this. This is our phenol when treated with NaOH. Okay. So what do you get? You will get our sodium phenoxide, isn't it? Sodium phenoxide. And this sodium phenoxide is treated with our alkyl halide like this, and you will get our, what is it? Alkyl phenyl ether, that is aromatic ether, like this, OR. So this is the third preparation from ethyl bromide. Okay, so from ethyl bromide. So now let us move to the next one. Okay, so then the next one is from diazomethane. So this is the fourth one, from diazomethane. Right? So what is this diazomethane? Let us see now. So this is our ethanol, C2H5OH, and then this is our diazomethane. Azo means when a bond is present in between two nitrogen atoms, we call it as azo, diazo, right? So this is a methane. CH4 is methane, isn't it? The two hydrogens are replaced by two nitrogens. So diazomethane. Okay, so then HbF4, HbF4. So what do you get here? So you will get ether, C2H5O, C2H5 plus nitrogen. Okay, so what do you get? You will get ether, right? So this is our ethanol when treated with diazomethane. Diazomethane. So you will get diethyl ether. Diethyl ether. So these are the preparations of ethers, children, right? This is from diazomethane. So when ethanol is treated with the diazomethane in the presence of HbF4, you will get diethyl ether, right? So then, so this is a catalyst which is used here. And now let us move to the chemical properties of ethers, right? So then regarding the physical properties, so ether is a colorless liquid, okay? So at room temperature with a pleasant smell, and then it is highly inflammable, right? It is highly inflammable, means it easily catches fire, ether, right? Then the boiling point of ethers will gradually increase with increase in the molecular mass, right? So then let us move to the chemical properties of ethers. Chemical properties of ethers. Right. So now these chemical properties of ethers can be studied under three headings, children. Right. So the first one is the substitution reactions. What is it? Substitution reactions. Substitution reactions. Right. So the second one is the Lewis basic nature of ethereal oxygen. Lewis basic nature of ethereal oxygen. Ethereal oxygen. And then, okay, carbon. Okay, carbon oxygen bond, carbon oxygen bond cleavage reactions, carbon oxygen bond cleavage reactions. So the chemical properties of ethers are studied under three headings. What is the first one? The first one is the substitution reactions. The second one is the Lewis basic nature of ethereal oxygen. And the third one is the carbon oxygen bond cleavage reactions. Okay. So now let us see one by one. So the substitution reactions. Okay. So hope I'm reaching you. So I don't say that to the complete extent, but to some extent, you are able to catch me because I have been accustomed to you children. So from many days, I'm teaching you, right? So action of HI, hydroiodic acid, hydroiodic acid. Until you don't write the statement for the reactions, never you will remember them, children. Okay. So then, so the first one is action of hydroiodic acid. So then this reaction proceeds in two conditions. So what is the first one? Diethyl ether when treated with cold HI. What is it? Cold HI, right? I told you this reaction proceeds in two conditions, under two conditions, isn't it? So there is cold HI. What does it give? It gives 1 mole of ethanol. You join with H, C2H5OH. See, another you join with I. What do you get? You will get ethyl iodide. Ethyl iodide. So when it is treated with cold HI, so you will get ethanol and ethyl iodide. Ethyl iodide. Simply remember the condition, children. With cold HI, you will get ethanol and ethyl iodide. So then with hot HI, what do you get? So ethanol, so C2H5O, C2H5. Diethyl ether when treated with hot HI, hot HI. Okay, so you will get 2 moles of ethyl iodide. Simple. 2C2H5I. And what is eliminated? So water is eliminated. So water is eliminated. How many moles of HI? 2 moles of HI, right? So then this is our ether. So no need to write again and again, I think, because we are dealing with the properties of ethers, isn't it? Ether, when treated with hot HI, gives 2 moles of ethyl iodide. 2 moles of ethyl iodide. So please remember, so this is the action with the hydroiodic acid. Okay, what acid, Nana? Hydroiodic acid, right? So now let us move to the next property of these ethers. So the properties of ethers are very simple to understand, children, right? So then coming to the next one. See, here only I will tell you the electrophilic substitution reactions in anisole, right? So the electrophilic substitution reactions in anisole. What is anisole? Tell me, you just recall what is anisole? It is an aromatic ether, isn't it? Substitution reactions of electrophilic substitution in anisole. Anisole. right? Anisole. So now let us see the electrophilic substitution reactions in anisole. See, the alkoxy group which is present in anisole is, let me write the structure of anisole such that you can recall it. So what did I tell you? What is this? So this is an aromatic ether. What is it, Nana? Aromatic ether. Yes. So the alkoxy group which is present in anisole is a strong ring activator of electrophilic substitution, and it directs the incoming group to the ortho and para positions. See, this is the ortho, isn't it? See where the cursor is moving? That point is ortho. And this is meta, this is para. So this methoxy group is a ring activating group, and it directs, means it asks the incoming group to join at which positions? To join at the ortho and para positions. Okay, children? So then the substitution takes place at ortho and para positions. So you will get ortho and para products. Okay. What is electrophilic substitution? Substitution means the process of replacing an atom or a group with another atom or another group is called as substitution. And this substitution is being done by an electrophile. What is an electrophile? An electron deficient species. As it is electron deficient, it will love electrons, it will seek electrons, it will attract electrons. So the substitution is being done by electrophiles, right? So that's why it is called as electrophilic substitution. So let me write all the reactions. Here I will write it briefly such that you can remember. So the alkoxy group directs the incoming group to the ortho and para positions. To the ortho and para positions. Okay, Nana? So please remember ortho and para positions. See, now let us see the electrophilic substitution reactions of these this compound anisole. So this is our anisole. Okay, so this is anisole. So the first one is halogenation, children. So let me write here. What is this? Halogenation. So what is this? Halogenation. Halogenation. So addition of, what is it? Substitution of halogens. Bromine in the presence of ethanoic acid, that is acetic acid. Acetic acid. So what do you get? So the bromine group is substituted at the ortho and para positions. This is OCH3 and this is our bromo. So what is this? So this is a para bromo anisole. Para bromo anisole. And another product you will get, isn't it? So that is ortho bromo anisole. What is it, Nana? Ortho bromo anisole. So this is the ortho position. Okay. So this is our ortho bromo anisole and para bromo anisole. Ortho position. Ortho bromo anisole and para bromo anisole. So this is the first one. Now let us see the second reaction, that is nitration. What is it, Nana? Nitration. So by this time, many of you might have understood this is the substitution of a nitro group. Means we are replacing the hydrogen with the nitro group here, isn't it? So anisole, C6H5OCH3. So this is our anisole when treated with nitration mixture. A mixture of nitric acid and sulfuric acid is called as nitration mixture, right? So the nitro group is substituted at the ortho and para positions. Which positions, ma? Ortho and para positions. So like this. This is our OCH3. right? So this is the nitro group. This is orthonitro anisole, and paranitro anisole. OCH3, OCH3, and then NO2. See, if we give numbering to this, then how can we give numbering? I will show you. Okay. So I think it is comfortable. Isn't it, children? Yes. So I will write the IUPAC names, I can say. So this is a 2-nitroanisole. 2-nitroanisole. And this is a 4-nitroanisole, because we had to give the preference to the alkoxy group here. This is 4-nitroanisole. Okay, Nana? So 2-nitroanisole and 4-nitroanisole, right? So this is the halogenation, and this one is the nitration. Okay, so halogenation and nitration. So I will write here halogenation. So what are halogens? 7A group elements are called as halogens. See, we are trying to finish your entire syllabus by the end of January, right? Such that you will become perfect with all the subjects by the end of February, and you can start your revision in the month of March for your board exams, right? So then coming to the next interesting one, this is a Friedel-Crafts reaction. Many of you are very familiar with this term Friedel-Crafts, isn't it? Friedel-Crafts reaction. So Friedel-Crafts alkylation and Friedel-Crafts acetylation, isn't it? Yes. So Friedel-Crafts reaction. Anisole, okay? Anisole, our aromatic ether, right? Anisole, when treated with methyl chloride, CH3Cl, in the presence of anhydrous aluminium trichloride, anhydrous AlCl3, right? And in the presence of carbon disulfide, what does it give? So it gives a substituted product at the ortho and para positions, children. So what is that? So this is a methyl group which is being substituted, and then this is our OCH3, and then you'll get another compound where the substitution has been taken place at the para position. Which position? Para position, right? So this is our methyl group. Now what is this? So let me write the names of these reactions, these compounds which are formed here. So this is a 2-methoxy toluene. Methyl benzene is called as toluene, right? And this is the minor product. So every time when you get two products in a reaction, you should remember that one will be the major one, the other one will be the minor one. So here, this is the minor one, and then this 4-methoxy toluene is the major one. 4-methoxy toluene is the major one. Okay, Nana? Right. So this is the Friedel-Crafts alkylation. Now let us see the Friedel-Crafts acetylation, right? So Friedel-Crafts acetylation. When the alkyl group is substituted, alkylation. When the acetyl group is substituted, acetylation. So now we are going to deal with the Friedel-Crafts acetylation, children, right? So then anisole, when treated with, okay, OCH3, when treated with acetyl chloride, that is acid chloride, CH3COCl. So anisole, this is a methyl chloride or chloromethane, and this is acetylation in the presence of the same reagent AlCl3, anhydrous AlCl3. Now, see what do you get? So you will get 2-methoxyacetophenone. What do you get? You'll get 2-methoxyacetophenone. This is the one you will get, right? See here. So this is a 2-methoxyacetophenone, and then you will get another product, 4-methoxyacetophenone. 2-methoxyacetophenone and 4-methoxyacetophenone. I hope you're all comfortable, right? See, why I'm repeating this is because you may feel that organic chemistry is tough, but it's very easy. Simply, we are replacing the atoms here and there, nothing to write. So there is nothing lengthy part to write here. Okay. So what is the name of this? This is 4-methoxy, okay, acetophenone, acetophenone. Okay, Nana, acetophenone. So then, which is the major and which is the minor one? So this is the major one, and this is the minor one. Okay. So now, see, let me recall this. So this is the Friedel-Crafts reaction. So Friedel-Crafts alkylation and Friedel-Crafts acetylation. So when it is treated with alkyl halide, alkylation, acetyl halide, acetylation. So this is Friedel-Crafts acetylation. So this is our acetyl chloride. Acetyl chloride. So this is our anisole. Anisole. Okay, Nana. So then now let us move to the next reactions of ethers. Okay, children. So then now, so this is the action with the, so this is all the additional information I am giving you, right? Action with oxygen or air. Oxygen or air, children. Right? So now what is this reaction? Let us see. Oxygen with air, oxygen or air. When ethers are exposed to atmospheric oxygen, right, they form explosive compounds. What is that explosive compound? I will show you. You can tell the name. This is our ether. When exposed to the air or oxygen, okay, so it gives an explosive product. What is it? An explosive product. What is that explosive product? So it is this compound. Okay. So what is this? So this is nothing but our what is it? So it is a compound which contains an oxygen-oxygen bond. Yes, you are right. What is this? This is a peroxide. Diethyl peroxide. When a bond is present in between two oxygen atoms, we call it as a peroxy bond, isn't it? So when diethyl ether is exposed to air or oxygen, what does it form? It forms diethyl peroxide. Diethyl peroxide. So this is the first reaction. Then action with inorganic acids. Inorganic acids. I'm giving you the complete picture of each and every compound, children, right? So please try to utilize these sessions and write down the notes. Watch our YouTube channel, right? Please write down the notes properly, right? So then action with inorganic acids. So diethyl ether, when treated with inorganic acids means HCl, H2SO4, HNO3, H3PO4. All these acids are called as inorganic acids, right? So when treated with inorganic acid, HCl, what does it give? It gives oxonium salts. So what does it give, Nana? Oxonium salts. C2H5 taken twice. Okay. C2H5 taken twice. OH. Okay. OH plus Cl minus. So what is this? It is an oxonium salt. Oxonium salt. So this is the action with inorganic acid, right? So let me show you with sulfuric acid also. See, why does I should leave it as an incomplete one? So diethyl ether, when treated with sulfuric acid, right? See, what do you get? You will get C2H5 taken twice, okay? Then OH plus, this is the cation and this is the anion. HSO4 minus. When a substance, when a compound contains a cation and anion, we call it as a salt. What is it? Salt. See, this is diethyl oxonium hydrochloride and this is diethyl oxonium hydrogen sulfate. Simply we can call it as a oxonium salts, right? So this is oxonium salt. Okay, Nana. So this is the action with inorganic acids. So you can watch the channel again and then you can write the notes carefully, right? So don't think that I'm in a bit hurry to complete the session, right? So then coming to the next one. So action of dilute sulfuric acid, H2SO4. Dilute sulfuric acid. See, let us see what happens when it is treated with dilute sulfuric acid. Diethyl ether, when treated with dilute sulfuric acid, means water is added. Understood the meaning of dilute, right? H2SO4. See, it gives 2 moles of ethanol. What does it give, Nana? 2 moles of ethanol. C2H5OH. Ethanol. Okay, so diethyl ether, when treated with dilute sulfuric acid, gives ethanol. What does it give? Ethanol, right? So now let us move to the next reaction quickly. So action of halogens. See, the next session will be in the aldehydes and the ketones. That is the carbonyl compound. It is a very biggest topic in organic chemistry, right? Action of halogens. Then diethyl ether. What is it? Diethyl ether C2H5O C2H5. When treated with halogen, chlorine, right? See, what happens is the hydrogens at the alpha position. See, children, this is the ethereal oxygen, means this is the functional group, and this carbon is called as alpha. The carbon atom adjacent to the functional group is called as alpha. Okay, the carbon atom which is adjacent to the functional group is called as alpha. Next to that, beta. Next to that, gamma. Understood? So this is the alpha carbon. What carbon? Alpha carbon. See, I will write like this: CH3, CH2, O, CH2, CH3. Okay, Nana. So what is this? Alpha. This is also alpha because it has 2 carbons beside to it, right? So this is also alpha, but we call it as alpha dash, right? This is alpha dash. See, what happens is when it reacts with chlorine, right? In dark, we have to specify that. Means in presence of light, something different might take place, isn't it? So in the presence of dark, what do you get? So the hydrogens in this alpha carbons will be replaced with the chlorine atoms, right? The The hydrogens are at the alpha positions will be replaced with chlorine atom. So what do you get, children? So you will get CH3, CH, that is CH, Nana, right? CH3, CH, okay, CH, Cl, O, CH, Cl, CH3, okay, plus what is this? Alpha, alpha dash, alpha, alpha dash, dichloro, dichloro, diethyl ether, dichloro, diethyl ether, diethyl ether. Okay, Nana, understood, right? So, see, what did I tell you? This reaction takes place in, what is it? It takes place in dark, isn't it? Now, let us see what happens when it takes place in the presence of sunlight. So, diethyl ether, when treated with halogens, that is chlorine, in the presence of sunlight, right? What happens? All the hydrogens are replaced with chlorine. Simple. What is it? C2Cl5. Understood? O, again C2Cl5. Right? So what is the name of this compound? This is a perchloro diethyl ether. Perchloro diethyl ether. Okay, Nana? So this is the important one. Please remember, when treated with chlorine in the presence of dark, means in the absence of light, we can say. What do you get? The alpha hydrogens of ether are replaced with the chlorines to get alpha, alpha dash, dichloro, diethyl ether. Okay, Nana? So now let us move to the next property of these ethers. See, I will take just 10 minutes more. So don't worry, right? So then the next reaction is with PCl5. See, my aim is to get more marks in all the competitive exams. Why? Because you will get many questions from organic part in all the competitive exams. That is for your JEE mains and also for your NEET exam, right? So, okay. So what is it? With the PCl5, ether gives ethyl chloride. So diethyl ether, C2H5O, C2H5. Diethyl ether, when treated with PCl5, phosphorus pentachloride, phosphorus pentachloride. See, what do you get? You will get diethyl chloride. How many moles, Nana? 2 moles. You will get 2 moles of ethyl chloride and phosphoric chloride, POCl3. We will write the names of these compounds. So this is our diethyl ether. Okay. See, for such, you can understand it in an easy manner. I'm writing in each and every reaction the names of the compound. This is phosphorus pentachloride. Penta means 5. And this is our ethyl chloride. The first topic which you have learned. And this is phosphoric chloride. Phosphoric chloride. Okay, Nana? Phosphoric chloride. So now let us move to the reaction of this diethyl ether with carbon monoxide. Reaction with carbon monoxide, CO. Diethyl ether reacts with carbon monoxide. See what happens when it reacts with carbon monoxide, and this reaction takes place in the presence of BF3, that is boron trifluoride, at 150 degrees centigrade, and we use 300 atmospheres pressure, children. 300 atmospheres pressure. Simply add both of these. What do you get? Let us see. C2H5, COO, C2H5. C2H5, COO, C2H5. Okay, right? So this is our ethyl propionate. This is our ethyl group, and this is C2 plus 1. 3. Ethyl propionate. What is it? It is an ester. RCOOR is an ester. Okay, please remember. So this is the reaction with the carbon monoxide. So when it reacts with carbon monoxide in the presence of boron trifluoride, and then at 150 degrees centigrade and 300 atmospheres pressure, see what does it give? It gives an ester, that is ethyl propionate. Now the next reaction here itself we can write, children. So this is with acetyl chloride. Acetyl chloride. What is this? This is an acid chloride. Acid chloride. Right? Acetyl chloride. So let us see the next reaction. Reaction with acetyl chloride. Okay, Nana? Acetyl chloride. Write the notes properly, Nana. Right? So please don't neglect any topic or any subject. Assimilation of knowledge is more and more important for you, children. So this is our ethoxyethane. Ethoxyethane. Right? That is our diethyl ether. When treated with acetyl chloride, CH3COCl is our acetyl chloride. Right? So in the presence of AlCl3, anhydrous aluminum trichloride. See, what does it give? It gives C2H5Cl, and what is the thing left over here? So nothing but our ester, CH3COO C2H5. Okay, so let us write the names of these compounds. This is our acetyl chloride. Okay, so this is our ethyl chloride, the product you got here, and this is our ester. What is this ester you got here? Ethyl acetate. What is it, Nana? Ethyl acetate. Okay, so this is the reaction with acetyl chloride. So now let us move to the next reaction of this ethers. So with acetic anhydride. So reaction with acetic anhydride. Reaction with acetic anhydride. Acetic anhydride. See, in my previous class, I have shown you that how this anhydride is obtained, isn't it? You just join two molecules of an acid and remove the water molecule from them, both of them, right? So you'll get an anhydride. Diethyl ether. So diethyl ether, C2H5O, C2H5 plus, okay, acetic anhydride, CH3CO taken twice O, acetic anhydride. So what do you get? In the presence of zinc chloride, this reaction takes place in the presence of zinc chloride. So what zinc chloride? Anhydrous zinc chloride, right? So you will get ethyl acetate, CH3COO C2H5. How many moles? 2 moles of ethyl acetate you will get here. So this is our diethyl ether. Diethyl ether reacts with acetic anhydride, reacts with acetic anhydride, okay, and what does it forms? It forms 2 moles of ethyl acetate, okay, Nana, ethyl acetate, right? So then now let me go to the next reaction. This is oxidation reaction. Oxidation by potassium dichromate, K2Cr2O7, an oxidizing agent. What is it? Oxidizing agent. Then what does it give when it gets oxidized? So when it is oxidized, it gives an aldehyde. Okay, and which on further oxidation gives a carboxylic acid, that is our acetic acid. Diethyl ether undergoes oxidation in the presence of potassium dichromate. So what is the reaction taking place here? Oxidation. And what does it give? It gives acetaldehyde. How many moles? 2 moles. And which on further oxidation, the same condition and the same reagent. Okay, again it is undergoing oxidation, children. So what does it give? It gives carboxylic acid, right? Carboxylic acid, CH3COOH. So let us write the names of these reactions. Ethoxyethane, ether. Okay, then what is this? Acetaldehyde, acetaldehyde, aldehyde. What is the IUPAC name? Ethanol, all. And what is this? Acetic acid is the common name. Then what is the IUPAC name? How many carbons? 2 carbons. Ethanoic acid. Ethanoic acid. Okay, done. We have finished this. This is the oxidation by potassium dichromate. So now let us move to the last reaction of this. So this is nothing but the burning or combustion. See, what is combustion? Can you tell me what is combustion, children? The complete burning of a substance. The complete burning of a substance is called as combustion. Okay, Nana? See, we are all putting lot of efforts for your studies, children, as we are unable to reach you directly through the real classroom environment. We are taking this webinar classes and we are putting our maximum efforts, right? See, uh, Shailja ma'am, Manjri ma'am, and each and everyone in the webinar team are working very hard to make this webinars a very successful one and to reach all of you children. Why? Because we want to enrich your knowledge, right? As our additional director, sir, is very humble and he wants to reach you children by these webinar sessions. So he has given us this wonderful opportunity to reach you. So please try to utilize this opportunity very carefully, right? So this is a burning or combustion reaction. Diethyl ether on combustion, complete burning of a substance. What does it give? Right? Complete burning of a substance, nothing but our carbon dioxide and water. See, generally, whenever the organic compounds undergo combustion, so they give carbon dioxide and water. So let us balance this. So this is 4 and this is 5. Okay, so now we successfully completed ethers, children. So in my next session, I'm going to deal with the carbonyl compounds. I hope I have reached you to some extent, children. See, I won't say that completely 100% everyone is able to understand, but my efforts are to reach the 100% students, right? To reach all the students across the state through this webinar sessions and to help you regarding this pandemic. Okay, so each and every one of us are working very hard to reach you children. So thank you, Shailja ma'am.
Madam, can you consolidate once again the ethers part?
Yes ma'am. Yes.
Just a gist of it.
Yes ma'am. So ROR is an ether. So these are the monoalkyl derivatives or dialkyl derivatives. Monoalkyl derivatives of alcohols and dialkyl derivatives of water. They are classified into 2 types, symmetrical ethers and then unsymmetrical ethers. Symmetrical ethers are those ethers which contain similar alkyl groups, right? And unsymmetrical ethers are the ethers which contain different alkyl groups. Symmetrical or simple, unsymmetrical or mixed. So then we learned the nomenclature. According to the IUPAC nomenclature, they are called as alkoxy alkanes. What is it, Nana? Alkoxy alkanes, right? So then we started to learn isomerism. The compounds which have same molecular formula but different physical and chemical properties exhibit isomerism. They show three types of isomerism: functional, metamerism, and chain isomerism. See, this is the functional isomerism. Alcohols and ethers are functional isomers. Metamers, which differ in the alkyl chain, which is bonded to the ethereal oxygen. And then this is the chain isomerism, which we learn, children. So chain isomerism. Same molecular formula, but different carbon chain, different carbon skeleton. 1-methoxybutane and 1-methoxy-2-methyl propane. Okay, 1-methoxy, 2-methyl propane. And then we started to learn the preparations of ethers. See, the first preparation is from ethanol, that is ethyl alcohol. So this is nothing but dehydration of alcohols. What is the meaning of dehydration? Elimination of water. And this is carried out by the two reagents. One is a concentrated sulfuric acid, the other one is alumina, and the temperatures are different, children. So when ethanol is heated with sulfuric acid, we get ether. And when ethanol is heated in the presence of alumina, see, alumina is also a dehydrating agent. So we get our diethyl ether. I will write the name here, right? So this is our diethyl ether. So ethoxyethane. What is this? Ethoxyethane, right? So then the second preparation is the very important one, that is Williamson synthesis. What is it? Williamson synthesis. So this is a very, very important reaction, right? Ethyl chloride reacts with sodium ethoxide and forms diethyl ether, right? This is called as Williamson synthesis. And by this method, both the symmetrical and unsymmetrical ethers are prepared. And then the SN2 attack of an alkoxide ion on the primary alkyl halide takes place here. And what is the order of reactivity of these alkyl halides? So primary greater than secondary, secondary greater than tertiary, right? So this is the order of reactivity. So the very famous and important reaction, that is the Williamson synthesis. And then the next reaction is from ethyl bromide, the next preparation. So when ethyl bromide is treated with dry silver oxide, we get diethyl ether. So what do you get, children? So you get diethyl ether, diethyl ether. Okay, I will write here again, diethyl ether. So this is our phenol when treated with sodium hydroxide here, and when treated with alkyl halide, you will get an aromatic ether. What ether? Aromatic ether. That is the alkoxybenzene, right? So then coming to the next one, see, we started, we learned the fourth preparation, that is from diazomethane. So ethanol, when treated with the diazomethane, gives diethyl ether. What does it give? Diethyl ether. See this diazomethane. So the two hydrogens of methane are replaced with nitrogen atoms. So diazomethane. And then coming to the next one, see, we started learning the chemical properties of ethers. The chemical properties of ethers can be studied under three headings. The first one is the substitution. The second one is the Lewis basic nature of ethereal oxygen. And the third one is the carbon-oxygen bond cleavage reactions. So the first one, action of hydroiodic acid. So then C2H5OH plus C2H5I. Ethanol and ethyl iodide as the products. And this reaction takes place in two conditions, cold and hot. With cold HI, ethanol and ethyl iodide are obtained. With hot HI, ethyl iodide is obtained. Okay, so then coming to the next one, right? So these are the electrophilic substitution reactions of anisole, which is an aromatic ether, right? So here the alkoxy group will direct the incoming group to the ortho and para positions. Okay. Why? Because it is an ortho para directing group. So it will increase the electron density at the ortho and para positions. So we get two products. One is the ortho bromoanisole and para bromoanisole. That is the halogenation. And in nitration, we get two products, 2 nitroanisole and 4 nitroanisole. So then we learnt about the Friedel-Crafts reaction. So it is of two types, acetylation and alkylation. So if alkyl group is substituted, we call it as alkylation. If acetyl group is substituted, we call as acetylation. So anisole plus methyl chloride, 2-methoxytoluene and 4-methoxytoluene. Then acetylation, we get 2-methoxyacetophenone and 4-methoxyacetophenone. It is a major product. Means the para product is the major one. Okay. Then we learn about the miscellaneous other reactions, right? So this is the additional information which I have given you, children. So this is the action with oxygen or air. When exposed to atmospheric oxygen, it gives a diethyl peroxide, and when treated with inorganic acids, it forms salts. When both the cation and anion are present, we call it as a salt. So this is the action with the dilute sulfuric acid. So when treated with dilute sulfuric acid, right? Dilute means with water, isn't it? It is diluted by adding water. It gives 2 moles of ethanol. Then action of halogens. Diethyl ether, when treated with chlorine in the presence of dark, it gives alpha, alpha dash, dichloro, diethyl ether. And when treated with chlorine in the presence of sunlight, it gives perchlorodiethyl ether. Here, all the hydrogens are replaced with chlorine. See here, the hydrogens are completely replaced with chlorine atoms, isn't it? See. So, in the presence of dark, means in the absence of sunlight, we can say in dark, we get alpha, alpha dash, dichloro, diethyl ether. Means the hydrogens. What is it? This is the alpha carbon and this is the alpha dash. The carbon adjacent to the functional group is called as alpha. Okay, right. So then we started learning with the PCl5, action with the PCl5, that is a phosphorus pentachloride. So when treated with the phosphorus pentachloride, what do you get? You will get ethyl chloride and phosphoric chloride. Then when treated with acetyl chloride, we get ethyl chloride and ethyl acetate, which is an ester, right? So then the last reaction of this. So there is a combustion. Okay, 1 minute. After PCl5, yes, this is the reaction. What we have learned. So this is the reaction with acetic anhydride. Acetic anhydride, which is the derivative of the carboxylic acid. So diethyl ether, when treated with acetic anhydride, gives ethyl acetate. What is this ethyl acetate? So again and again, I'm telling you, children, this is an ester. RCOOR is an ester, right? Ester. Then oxidation, addition of oxygens is called as oxidation. And this takes place in the presence of an oxidizing agent, that is a potassium dichromate. So ethoxyethane, when treated with potassium dichromate, undergoes oxidation. And what does it form? It forms an aldehyde, and further oxidation gives acetic acid or ethanoic acid. And then coming to the last reaction, that is the burning or combustion. See, diethyl ether on combustion, that is the complete burning of a substance. Diethyl ether or ethoxyethane on combustion gives carbon dioxide and water, right? Okay. So this is the last reaction which we have learned, children. I think I have completed this topic, right? Thank you, Shailja ma'am.
Thank you, madam. It was indeed an interesting session. You have covered all the aspects in detail.
But we should thank you, ma'am. Why? Because you are very sincerely putting all of your efforts to make this webinar successful, ma'am. You are not feeling this as your duty, but as a responsibility. You are doing this. So really, a big round of applause to you, ma'am. So
thank you. Thank you.
Here,
This is what we are doing for the children.
Yes,
Children, please visit this. The subject of ethers, the topic of ethers is 12.8, starts from page number 398. So this is for your information.
You are seeing our chemistry textbook and you are learning organic chemistry, ma'am.
Yes, so there are only 4 pages actually, but madam has covered in detail all the properties, all the chemical reactions, which will be beneficial. And children, please try to solve the in-text questions.
Ma'am, here I have to mention one thing, ma'am. See, we didn't we are not following the deleted syllabus and all, ma'am. We are trying to teach each and every topic, and in a very comprehensive manner, we are completing the syllabus.
Yes.
See, we are not bothered about the deleted syllabus and all. Why? Because it doesn't help for the competitive examinations. Keeping in view of the competitive examinations, we are covering the entire syllabus, ma'am.
Yes. To gain the knowledge, subject knowledge, you are teaching in detail, and it is very interesting, like what happens. So like alpha, what is alpha, what is alpha dash, in detail you are teaching. So children, please make the best use of the resources available. If you find, if you have any doubts, then you can post in the comment section, revisit this and make your running notes.
I'm giving reply to the comments also, ma'am. Few children are asking doubts in their comment, in our comment box. See, I'm texting the answers also for them. So I feel very happy whenever they get doubts. Why? Because a teacher indeed gets happiness whenever a student raises doubts. Okay.
Yes, madam. So children, all the best. Keep learning. Stay home. Stay safe. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your support.